This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Big, but it's there.
It's there.
Oh my gosh. What a week, you guys. What a freaking week in general. Like,
I feel like this week went fast for me, weirdly. Like, it went quickly, and I don't really know why.
Fast but weird, right? Like, Kelly Preston died, which was sad. First of all, I didn't even know she was sick.
Me neither.
Talk about that? Like, I didn't even know she was sick.
Well, I just feel like we've been really inundated with news lately, and we just can't keep up. Like, I actually saw somebody wrote an article about celebrities during this time and how our general level of caring is low. Like, we just don't care as much about their lives, unless it's like Will and Jada, I guess. We just don't care about like what's happening in celebrities' lives, which, you know, good question mark. Like,
well, it's because celebrities are like us now. We're all in the same fucking boat, the same quarantine
except
boat.
They're in their quarantine boat in a $8 million mansion,
which is why we don't give a fuck about that, because I don't want to see where your fancy quarantine. I'm in my own shit.
Please, God, do not sing Imagine at me from your $20 million mansion. I don't care. But with that said, I will say I was like just perusing the internet this week, and I came across an article of celebrity breakups for 2020, like celebrities that have broken up this year.
Give me that drama. You know we're ready to vacuum grass.
I sure will. So first of all, like a lot of these people I don't know, so I'm not even going to talk about them, because a lot of them are like YouTubers, TikTok stars, which, can you believe that there's a thing called TikTok stars?
No,
but anyway,
I really can't.
I don't care that two 15-year-olds
I literally
broke
couldn't
up.
care less.
Don't care at all. But this one will be very interesting to Christina. Bill Hader and Rachel Bilson broke up.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Watch out, Bill Hader.
Hey.
I gotta change some plans around.
Gotta do some thinking. Let me see. This one made me really sad.
Yeah.
So Kelly Clarkson and her husband Brandon Blackstock have filed for divorce, and it makes me sad, but also I thought it was really sweet. She won a daytime Emmy, and or was it daytime Emmy? Yeah, for her talk show, and she won it after she had filed for divorce already, and it was already like out in the public that they were getting divorced, and she still went out of her way in her acceptance speech to thank him for believing in her and believing in her show, and even like tweeted at him like, you know, I couldn't have done this without you. It's
Clearly
sweet.
it's amicable, and that's good. That's good, because they have kids, and you want to see it, you know. And I mean, ending something's never great, but if you can do it on good terms and you can be civil, gosh, that's, you know, all the better.
I think it can be great, you know, if it's the best thing for both of you and you can recognize that and maturely, like, consciously uncouple, then I do feel like it is a good thing. So Colton Underwood, the most boring bachelor of all time, and Cassie Randolph, the girl he jumped a fence for, they broke up after being together for 2 years. So there's that. Ooh, this relationship makes me uncomfy. You know, do what you want, but Scott Disick and Sophia Richie have broken up.
She's 12, right?
She looks like an actual baby person. Like, she doesn't look, and I understand she is an adult, like she can make her own decisions, but I think they started dating when she was like 19.
Yeah, barely.
And I'm like, remembering who I was at 19, I'm like, being somebody's stepmom.
Oh my God,
at 19, like the stepmom to like 2 to 3 kids is like, no. And I'm like, it's so much baggage for like a young person to deal with. Like, because I think they broke up because he had to go to rehab or something. And I'm like, honey, please, like, find you a man you don't have to fix. You're like in your early 20s. Enjoy this.
Don't start projects so soon.
Yeah, my God.
Finish college first or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, your project should be yourself, not a man.
For
Amen. Put
real.
that on a shirt.
Yes, for real. I feel like not enough 19-year-olds hear that.
I certainly needed to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, totally.
Mary,
some days I still need to hear it.
Yeah, same. Oh my God, same. As an affirmation you should remind yourself of. You are your greatest project. Mm-hmm. So Mary-Kate Olsen and Olivier Sarkozy split up.
Again, that was a big age difference.
Yeah.
Her father.
Yeah.
Right? Jeez.
That relationship was weird. I remember hearing about their wedding and being like, what the fuck? Like, because they got married in Paris or whatever, because he's like a French businessman or something. And the one thing that I will never forget when I was reading like whatever gossip blogs about their wedding was that her centerpieces were just like ashtrays. And everyone was just smoking. Like, it was the most French thing in the world. Like, everybody was just like smoking inside. Oh my God. Like, wild. Like, the Olsen twins.
That's not what you're going to do for your wedding? I don't understand.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm considering it.
Just one table of smokers.
I'll tell you.
Chain fucking smoking.
I'll tell you, this quarantine, you sent that video this morning of like what it's like to be a couple in quarantine, and it was real fucking life. I was dying laughing.
I sent a video and it was Glennon Doyle, who is like a author and like inspirational person, I think. I'm not quite sure what she does, but she's married to Abby Wambach, who is a soccer player. I think a U.S. national team soccer player. I think I should know that. But they're married, and she likes to send these videos. Like, she has another one that I sent to Anthony because I'm like, too real, where they can't figure out what to have for dinner, and they're like, we have to have this conversation one more time about like what we're gonna eat for dinner. And I'm like, that's too true. But this one that I sent to you guys was basically, she's like, we're the opposite of ships in the night. We are ships sailing side by side in the Atlantic for months, and I just need some space. And she's so sweet. The way that she's saying it is so sweet, but she's also like, but for real, like, I say it to Anthony now all the time when he's starting to like get on my nerves. I'm like, I need you to go, or I need me to go. We need some absence.
Right.
I love you, but we need some space.
Yeah.
Just something. Yeah. I mean, Eric went out of town for like 2 days this week, and it's the longest that we've been apart since quarantine, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it's a new relationship. And I was simultaneously like, oh, I'm going to miss you, but also like, holy shit. I planned out every single minute of that sweet alone time in my apartment. I was like, I ordered and ate $70 worth of sushi by myself night one.
The second he was gone, you took off that skin suit so fast. You were like, oh, finally. Exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. I feel like so many people
lizard.
I feel like so many people are either a Glennon or a Katie. And like, I am such a Katie. Anthony is such a Glennon. Like, we work in the same building. Like, we are in this, like, we're in our 1-bedroom apartment. We're both working. We're in different rooms, but I'm like, I'm with you all day. And then after work, he'll be like, hey, do you want to like go with me to go run this errand or do this thing? And I'm like, please.
No.
You go so that I can have 5 minutes alone.
Exactly.
I love you.
And you're like the cat when like having zoomies. As soon as he walks out the door, you're like,
oh my God.
Yes. So much room for activities.
Like, what do I want to do first? You're so right. It's like, it literally does feel like peeling off the skin suit. Because I mean, I did I did nothing that exciting or crazy. It was just like, oh, I don't have to be a human being for like this amount of time. Like I get to be.
You can be gross if you want.
Yes.
I laid on the couch in my underwear after eating $70 worth of sushi, farting up a storm, watching I'll Be Gone in the Dark. And I was like, I can't be happier.
There's a joy in not having to consult somebody about like what you're going to watch.
Yes.
Like, oh my God. The other day I was working.
Do you guys not both have 2 TVs in your house?
No, we have one TV. We have one TV, but I mean, we have other devices. Like we could be in separate rooms. Like the other day, Anthony was watching soccer in the bedroom and I was in the living room reading. So I'm like, we can get away from each other. It's just that I feel like the habit is because of the way we lived before, where we were apart, like when we were at home together, like that's our time together. And like, I feel like those habits are hard to break. And so after work, the instinct is like make dinner, sit on the couch and watch something together, you know, have together time. But all the time is together time now.
There's literally not together time.
And I feel like Anthony loves it. I feel like he is thriving, honey. Like he is like, this is the best. I love being glued to your side at all times. He
does, I bet.
And I'm like, I love you so much. But if you could just go away for like half an hour, let me watch The Voice. Like I swear to God, he was trying to talk to me while I was watching The Voice the other day. And I was
That's like, unacceptable. You don't know. Come on. Put some respect on that.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing that I at first, like the beginning of the quarantine, I'm like the novelty of not going to like travel every week and like hanging out. It's great. I was like, oh, we could see each other. But neither Chris nor I are very clingy people. So like, we're not, I need you beside me. But there's like some days, like this morning, he had been up and around and he came into the bedroom with stuff and I was like, patted the bed. I'm like, come sit by me. Like I just want you to be beside me and you can read and I can read and whatever. But most of the time, like we really are like Chris goes to work every day. So that we have that. So that's good. But then too, when at night, like we always would, you know, watch TV together or whatever, or read in the same room or whatever. But there's been many nights where it's like, you know what? Chris wants to watch soccer. So I'm going to go into the bedroom and watch Brothers and Sisters and we'll totally do our own separate thing. So we've done a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that I worry about is, you know, I was hesitant to get into a relationship for a long time because one of the things that I was worried about was losing myself. You know, that happened during my marriage, you know, where I didn't take enough self-care time. So I went completely opposite for like 2 years where I was like, this is all about me. I was selfish. And I started to really enjoy it. I started to really love it. So bringing Eric in, I wasn't concerned, you know, I was like, yeah, you can move in, but you know, I'm out of the house so much during the week because I have the podcast and I have the band.
Right. And then quarantine swooped in and was like, nope, not today. We're going to force you to be just ships sailing right next to each other for the next 4 months. Let's do this.
And I get scared about falling into old patterns. And I also I have become rather crotchety in my old age where I'm just like really
your old age.
Really, really need alone time. Like in order to, I don't know if it's the Capricorn in me or what.
I think it has a lot to do with that.
I don't think it's
really
crotchety.
Persnickety when I have to people too much. You know what I mean?
I don't think that makes you a crotchety person. I think that is just everybody has their different limits of interaction that they can tolerate, first of all. Like, I think that that's part of it. Secondly, there is no shame in needing time to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to. It's invaluable. And I wish that I had started doing it earlier, actually. this episode is just notes to my 19-year-old self. You know what I mean? Like, fucking take care of yourself first. Take time to do the things that you enjoy. You don't always have to do everything with your partner. And if you need space, it's okay to, like Katie Wambach did, kindly, with love, articulate that you need the other person to go away.
And what it always boils down to is good communication, because that's truly what it is. Because the thing of it is if you hold on to that and you hold on to that feeling for too long, then it bubbles up and you become resentful. You become angry. You lash out. You know what I'm saying? Which is not what you want to do. So it's just better to have the conversation while you're in a place that you can be calm and peaceful, while you can do it in that place, before it gets to a point that you're just like, fuck you, get out of my space. Why are you so close to me?
Or like,
touching me.
That would be Cassie's Aries way of reacting. Or you have the Pisces way of reacting, which is just to become really passive aggressive, which is worse.
Yikes.
Ooh, yikes.
Which is worse. It's so much worse. But yeah, so you got to learn, because I mean, that's who I used to be, man. I used to I'm going to harbor this resentment. I'm going to let it fester, and then I'm going to act out in super passive aggressive ways, like banging pots and pans around the kitchen, which is not what you want to do.
Wait, that's not healthy?
Just be honest.
I think the Capricorn in me, when I finally reach the brink, it's like it's no bueno. I get snarky, for real.
You get snarky. I think you also do the thing which
I get silent. Yeah.
I was just gonna say complete shutdown.
Oh yeah, passive aggression. I do the same thing. But you know what's funny? I think of the three of us, the one who you would think it would be Cassie, but actually I think the one who I would most not want to hit their limit with would be Christina. Because I feel like you would find, it would be like Smog in The Hobbit, right? Where it's just like one chink in your armor, and it's like, you know exactly what that is, and you're going to shoot an arrow right at it.
It's that one little sliver, the knight with the one little sliver where you...
Yeah, and it's like if you push Christina too far, I have a feeling she's going to say the one thing that will ruin your life.
Oh my god,
she'll ruin you.
It's terrible. I hold those arrows, and it takes a lot to get me to shoot them. A lot,
and I know it does. That's why I mean,
is
like,
one good quality. But yeah,
Eric, blink twice if you're not safe.
once I'm ready to shoot, man, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah. I think the thing with Aries, though, like for me, is that it's really hard to get me to that point, because I have already shot warning shots so many fucking times that for me, I'm so communicative. Like, you're going to know if I'm upset, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. We're not going to play a guessing game. It's going to be, here's what's bothering me, fix it or fucking die. And so I think that's why, you know what I mean? Like,
that's funny. You know, it is funny the way different people respond to things. I've been working on, I try really not to be passive aggressive and be like very direct and communicative now. But I feel like my tendency, if it just goes unchecked, it's funny the way that we handle getting to our limit, because I feel like with me, and maybe this is almost worse, it's like Pisces, or just people like me, will just leave.
Yeah.
Like they'll just be done and then be like, goodbye.
You're the epitome, or I think Pisces in general are the epitome of this is fine, burning building. Until the smoke gets so thick that you just leave and nobody knows.
Right, which is not an okay thing to do, because you should be like communicating up until that point. But you're like, I'm sorry, you didn't read my mind for the last 6 months, so I'm gonna leave now. You know?
I made it super clear with my thought waves, and you didn't pick them up. So.
Did you not hear me banging the cabinets in the kitchen? You didn't hear that? Didn't pick that up? So, okay.
Did you not hear me stomp through the house?
Guess you don't care about me.
Wow, rude, actually.
Oh my God.
Man. Speaking of core dating, Anthony and I were having this conversation the other day, and you guys tell me if you think that this is something that's happening. For people who are like wilding out right now and like actually going on dates with people, do you think they are wearing masks when they fuck?
No.
Oh,
because
no.
that is the
Hard no.
CDC like recommended thing.
Okay.
Like they're like, if you're gonna have sex, you need to wear a mask while you're having sex. And I
Dude,
told
it's hard
Anthony,
enough
I'm like,
to get these motherfuckers to put on a condom. You think they're gonna wear a mask?
yeah. And I told Anthony, I'm like, people who are out there in the wild west right now, like fucking dating during the pandemic, they don't care. They're not out there trying to like wear a mask when they smash, right?
No, I don't think so.
If you are, write in and let us know. I would be interested in hearing about that.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like, what is it like to try and get the person you're on a date with to keep their mask on when you go up to fuck? I want to know.
God forbid you like match up with someone that doesn't even believe in them. You know what I mean?
No. Well, that would be the end of the date.
You show up, they're not in a mask, you just turn right around. You're like, goodbye.
Didn't even recognize you because you have a mask on. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they could be one of those ones that are like, oh, it's just security theater. It's not real.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Speaking of Facebook, what is that thing where there's like 2 million people pretending to be ants?
What?
There's a Facebook
I'm
group.
sorry, what?
There's a Facebook group.
Note this time as when we started again.
I know, right? So, okay, there's a Facebook group, and I know Keegan's not on Facebook right now. I'm looking up ants right now because ants group. Okay, great.
Okay, wait, because I feel like
Okay.
now that you're saying this, I saw something kind of involving
A group where we all pretend to be ants in an ant colony. 1.9 million members. In this group, we are ants. We worship the queen and do ant stuff. Welcome to the colony. And they literally just pretend
But why?
to be ants.
But why?
I don't know.
Sense.
I need someone to explain it to me. It's the most bizarre thing. This is where we're at in quarantine.
I have thousands of thoughts, and I don't understand any of them.
I mean,
I don't understand why would you? But literally, like, why would you?
I have no idea. We're in a place mentally during these trying times, TM.
These trying times, TM.
That is just, I mean, I keep using the word unprecedented because that's kind of what it is, but
I mean, it is.
This is where we're at right now, where 1.9 million people want to be in a Facebook group where they pretend to be ants. And I don't know what you call that.
You know, I get it. Being a human's really hard right now. Like, maybe it would be easier just to be an ant. You have your purpose, right? Each ant knows its place. Mm-hmm. And, you know, life is easier that way. I think about that sometimes. I look at my cats and I think, like, God damn, I would really love to be reincarnated as a house cat.
Oh, man.
Like, you just
what a
sleep
life.
all day. You just have someone loving on you constantly, obsessed with your existence. I'm obsessed with the existence of my cats.
Same.
And like, they're feeding you. You got a nice place to lay down. You find a nice, comfy, sunny spot. Like, man, that looks bomb. You don't have to worry about paying rent.
Yeah. Now, see, that's a Facebook group I could get into.
People pretending to be house cats.
That
sure it exists.
start it. Let's
There you
start
go.
it right now.
If it doesn't,
What?
yeah.
Ants. I'm done.
You're like, I don't have anything else to say about that, actually.
I'm out, actually.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I'm out. Speaking of cats, though, you guys, have you seen, I think I sent it to you, so hold on, let me pull it up real quick. Boop, boop, boop. My worst date. There we are. It is a, nope, that's an apartment I sent you. Oh, a new dating app called Tabby that helps cat lovers connect and create feline-focused couples.
Okay, I'm on board, and here's why.
Duh.
I've been
Me
thinking
too.
about this. So someone posted in our Facebook group like a couple months ago when I was still on Facebook. they posted something in our Facebook group about like how there was a study that says that men who have cats in their dating profiles get swiped left on more often than those who don't.
That's right. We talked about that.
And I'm, first of all, appalled, shocked and appalled by that, because to me, not liking cats is a deal breaker, because I love my cat so much that like not liking cats is a deal breaker for me. So if you have one in your profile picture, I'm like, okay, one hard conversation we don't have to have. But so many people who I love and respect so much as listeners, hi, I love you guys. But so many people on that Facebook post were like, yeah, no, it's a turnoff for me. I wouldn't like it. What? It would turn me off to have a guy with a cat in his profile picture. And
weird. You're just wrong.
I got like actually offended. Like, I'm like, they're not talking about me.
No.
But I got like actually offended by it, where I was just like, why am I so in my feelings, ready to defend dudes who love cats? You know? So I'm like, this sounds amazing. I can just go straight to the cat lovers. Let's go.
Yeah, I always swiped on guys that had animals in their profile, because there were a lot of people that were like, if you have cats, it's a deal breaker for me, like allergic. You know what I mean? So
okay, I mean that's understandable.
So yeah, it was nice to be like, oh, I don't have to worry about the fact that I have.
If you're allergic, listen, I get it. I empathize lightly with you, only because my mom was allergic to cats my whole life. Lightly.
I like
because
like
my mom solidly was like, that's fine. I will live on drugs to live with cats.
Look, I
get it.
I'm not seriously allergic, but I am slightly allergic. Like I'm a little allergic to cats, and I know that, and I just put it in the back of my brain and decide not to look at it.
Here's the thing. I think that would be a deal breaker for me. Like, I don't think I could not have an animal. Well, I think we've shown that. If you go back and listen to my depression episodes, in which I didn't have an animal and I lost my dog, and that I can't live without a pet.
Well, I think I've told you guys this on this podcast before, but when Anthony and I first got together, I was living on my own, and my friend called and they'd found this cat, and they were like, do you want this cat? And I was like, yes. So I took my cat Matilda in, and I've had her for like 6.5 years now.
She's so pretty.
And she's lovely. She's a sweet little baby. But at that time, Anthony was very like, I don't like cats. And he kept making jokes about how like, well, it was nice while it lasted. And I was like, I guess it was. Like, if you're going to make me choose.
It's not going to happen.
I choose the cat. Yeah.
Between a new relationship and this cat that I have committed to take in and love and cherish as my baby. Yeah, I'm taking this cat. So make it work or don't. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, yeah.
Nice knowing you. It's been real.
That answers that question. I was going to be like, what do you do when you have like a new relationship and somebody has, I can't think of any animal that I've never liked, but what if they have like a shitty, like mean animal or something? Like what would you do?
I have questions. I have yet to. I'm being very honest here, and I know I'm totally the dog whisperer of my group. When I was a kid, like I'm always, animals love me, and I've been very lucky. I'm not just like pat myself on the back brag, but I've yet to run into an animal that is shitty.
Yeah,
but I've run into tons of humans that are real fucking shitty. And if I was, I don't know. Like to me, that's just such a. I can't even put my head around that.
Well,
I feel like that a flag for the owner then? Because it's like, well, if this animal is mean or whatever, like what'd you do to it? Like
some animals are mean to you because they are attached or possessive of their owner. Like my ex's dog was like that in the beginning. Not mean, but very like kind of like cold to me, but only because he loved his owner so much. And what I see is that is a personal challenge to you to win that animal over.
Yeah.
And I
Fuck the
did.
human.
I fucking did. I was like, you know what? We're going to make this work. You and I, we're going to be great friends. And we were. So that would be my thing is I'm like, if an animal's like not digging on you, it's cool. You don't have to rush that relationship, man. Like, but you can win that animal over.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I really feel like, if an animal is mean or whatever, that wouldn't be a deal breaker for a relationship. But if a person was mean to my animals, okay.
I think that here's the other side of that coin, which is that how are they taking care of that animal? So so example, you meet a guy, into him, you get to his house, he's got 4 ferrets and doesn't keep up his house.
Oh, see, yeah, I don't. That's a different thing because I actually like ferrets. I think they're funny and they're like
but
smart.
Your house stank.
But if you don't take care of them, that is one of those animals that, like, if you walk into a house with people who just have free range ferrets that they don't like. But it's the same thing with cats, right? It's like if you have or any animal, it's like if you have an animal that you are not tending to, even fish. Like if you're not cleaning the fish tank regularly, your house will smell like mildew. It's like that is an indicator of the person, not the animal.
And but to be honest with you, that is a deal breaker. Like how you take care of your animal says everything I need to know about who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
Because I could not get behind somebody who, if I walked in their house and I could smell litter box and I know it hasn't been cleaned in like weeks or months, I'm like, that just, I'm sorry. That to me is a full deal breaker. Look, weeks even. How often do you, I'm every 2 days.
Who doesn't
every
clean
2 days.
their litter box in a month?
You have to. You have to. It's unlivable.
I remember a friend of mine when I was in high school, they had a dog who would piss and shit all over the house because they never took it outside. And it was just like their fucking house was disgusting. Like I never wanted to go there. Ugh. But I'm like, some people live that way. Can you imagine being raised in a house like that?
It's a hard no from me, dog. Yeah. Speaking of, okay, good transition into our Fuck, Marry, Kill this week.
Oh, yes.
We discussed this in our group chat because, as you all know, I have been watching basically nothing but audition videos on YouTube. It's pretty much all I'm watching right now. And so I was watching an old school episode of like auditions for American Idol. And I was like, oh my God, what a wild time to be alive. First of all, back then, before reality TV was like a thing and people were just like real. Cause I feel like it's far more manufactured now. But I was like, we should fuck, marry, kill the American Idol judges. So we got Simon Cowell, Randy Jackson, and Paula Abdul, and they are a wild trio. I feel like we have a lot to pull from here.
Ooh, I thought originally it was like, I have this unlock. I know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be honest, I'm a little torn.
I am too. I've been marinating on it for a while.
I think I know now that I just kind of went through a little quick. My brain works this way. All right. So I think I have it. I think what I'm going to do. Oh, this is so tough. Okay. I think that I am going to marry Randy Jackson. And I think
the most sane choice.
Literally the most sane, right?
Yeah.
And he just does seem really cool. Like, you know, that motherfucker smokes pot. Nobody that's like, I don't know, me dog. For me dog. So that guy is a fucking laid back pot smoking.
He's the most Chris-like of the three for sure. Like
that's
like
so funny.
Randy,
you're so right.
Yeah, Randy Jackson is way chill.
Yeah.
Like he never gets too ruffled. Like I've never seen him get mad. I've watched a lot of, like I said, a lot of these auditions, and I've seen judges get like pissed or whatever. And I used to watch American Idol all the time. And I don't think I ever saw Randy get like furious.
Those are the kind of people though that you are so nervous when they get mad. Because like Chris, if Chris gets real mad, never at me, just in general, because I'm perfect. But when he gets like legitimately fucking pissed off, my whole body is, I'm talking, I can feel the anxiety from the tip of my head to the tip of my fucking toes. My whole body clenches. My stomach will immediately start hurting. And even if it has nothing to do with me, my anxiety level is through the roof because that's somebody who doesn't get pissed. So to see somebody who doesn't get pissed at a furious level.
Randy is the kind of dad who, like, if you came home and he was waiting up for you,
you're done.
Watch out. You know what I mean? Like, he's like soup's chill, but if you push him, you're like, So yeah, But I do think he would be a good husband.
Yeah, he's the kind of dad, though, who wouldn't wait up for you. He'd just want you to know that he's disappointed and he's not going to talk to you tomorrow because he's that kind of dad. He is. You know what I mean? He is. So I'm gonna marry. You're right. He is the most Chris-like. I feel strong in my choices that I've made thus far. So that's
the one choice.
that one choice.
Feeling good about it.
I'm feeling good about it. I am going to fuck Simon Cowell.
Oh, interesting.
I know. And it's because
he'd be the worst in bed.
I don't think so. And here's my thing. Here's my big picture. I'm easy. We know this. Doesn't take much for me. So that's not going to be a big problem. I feel like we could do it in a yacht. And I'm really into
I was
going to
say, he's going to be the most luxurious for sure.
Yeah.
Like, he is the one.
That luxury fuck.
Like, that man knows how to make money and has made a lot of it, and he is going to fuck you on 1,000 thread count Egyptian cotton
I'm
sheets.
just going to say compensating.
Fine. You're like, that's fine.
Literally don't care.
Shallow vagina.
But what I will say about Simon though is, and this is bad, again, 19-year-old self, don't do this, but I feel like he's one of those people who, like, it would be really hard to get his approval, but like when you get it, like when you watch him look at someone who he really likes on the show, he literally looks like he has heart eyes. Yeah. Like, he cradles his head in his hands.
And he'll fight for you, man. And
he will fight for you if he sees something in you.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, very bad. Don't do this. But you could be like, if you were able to attain that, I feel like you would feel so good. You know what I mean? If you could just get him to love you.
Dude, that was the basis for my first marriage, and I am not going there again.
No, don't. That's why we're not marrying him. We are fucking him.
Yeah,
and
if
I
you
just
could
want
blow
that
his
check
mind
mark of approval for that little thing.
If you could blow his mind with your performance in the bedroom, I mean,
and I got to be honest with you. Again, the narcissist in me doesn't give a fuck. Honestly, I don't care. I don't need his approval as long as I got mine.
But do you think he like criticizes bad sex the way that he criticizes bad singers? That's where fine. He's just like, that was the worst experience.
I hope so.
I have ever had.
And I'd be like, cool. All right. Well, I'm going to call Randy because I need a ride home.
And
Randy would drive you home.
Self-esteem to be critiqued by Simon Cowell.
No, me neither. I don't.
Distaste for him and his opinion.
This is where being a narcissist. This is where being a narcissist is actually helpful because you're just like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way.
I was getting ready to say that. I'm like, that's why Cassie will fuck Simon Cowell, is because like you don't need that. You don't need that like approval
I got off.
or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
where I'm just
like a you problem.
Yeah, my self-esteem, my ego is too fragile to do that, especially since I know he's going to critique me after not doing a good job himself. Like,
exactly.
I know that's the case.
And I have to kill Paula, you guys, because honestly, can we talk about how much I couldn't handle her? And I swear to God, Christina.
I'm going to fuck her.
Fucking Connor.
I'm gonna fuck her too.
Listen,
because she's
Christina,
wild.
You of all fucking people couldn't even handle a full night with that bitch.
Oh,
there's no fucking way. There's no fucking
all
way.
I could. All I have to say is pills.
Yes,
I just take so many pills.
You'd have to match her pill level.
Look, man, I gotta say, like, I feel like one night with Paula would be wild. It would be wild. It would be weird.
Yep.
And I'm kind of into it. Like, I'm like, this is going to be the weirdest night of my life. I am into it, actually.
I
like, just
this,
one night.
Like, picture of just being like completely trashed, like at a Walmart, like pushing her in a shopping cart at one point.
Oh,
like,
fuck yes. Amazing.
Down the Target aisles,
you
fighting
guys
with pooled noodles.
Are gonna be so wine drunk next to her pool. Like, that
should be a great friend for that type of moment.
Oh man.
But I couldn't handle
because she was drunk on the show like 90% of the time, like fully.
Pills. I think it's pills. That was a very pill poppy.
I'm like, we're gonna have some fun. Like,
I agree. I think same thing. Paula is like gonna be that one night stand that also like texts you on occasion, but just with like funny memes.
Yeah,
like just memes and like no commentary. I'm into it. I'm gonna fuck Paula because I think that fucking hilarious.
And then I think I gotta marry Randy too. I got to. He you know, that whole like it's a no for me, dog. I'm like, yeah, same. I just feel like he'd be
because
chill.
He's not a dick about it. He's just like, it's a no from me, dog. You know, and he had some
it's a very thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, he had some moments on that show where like. He said some things that I'm like, oof, if that was happening to me, I'd be like, oh, that's painful. But it wasn't mean-spirited.
No,
never mean-spirited.
No. And
you can't marry Simon because I'm like...
I'm going to kill him. Yeah. No, thanks.
Also, Cassie, as a hairstylist, let me tell you, I was watching something. It was probably the voice... I don't know if he just doesn't brush his hair and that's just the way it lays, but he has a center part.
It's kind of a permanent flat top with a middle part. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
He has a middle part that is flat on both sides, but also still puffy, like he's not putting any product in it. I don't know. I had feelings about it.
It's a lot. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to marry the guy. But I honestly couldn't spend it. I don't think I could spend an entire night with
Paula.
That's so funny. That's so funny. She's going to teach me like some Janet Jackson dance moves. I can't wait.
Oh my God. Getting so drunk and trying to do Rhythm Nation.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
We're going to drink 2 bottles of wine each.
Oh.
And then she's going to teach me how to do Rhythm Nation and we're going to hopefully not die.
Oh my God. and I want to do that right now, actually.
Do I not have to actually fuck her though? That's the question then. Because if we both pass out.
I feel like you have to get the fucking in early. Like I feel like you have to do it first. Like, and then, you know, like maybe have a couple glasses have 1 bottle of wine, then do the fucking, then end the night with the fun stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying the actual sex is going to be that fun. It'll be fine.
I have the opposite opinion where I was going to wait till the end of the night when it's just like you're so drunk and just like tired and you're trying and then you just like give up and fall asleep.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Oh, is it?
No,
I'm
it's
saying
not
like that way I can get out of it.
Exactly.
I don't think I would mind it. Yeah.
Well, that was a good one.
Oh man, fun stuff.
Did we ever do Breakfast Club, by the way? I think we should do Breakfast Club at some point.
We did, but we should.
Yeah. By the way, this is my worst date. I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and come back with stories?
Sounds good.
And we're back. All right, so I'm going to kick us off with stories. This is one that we received to our email this last week. It says, "Hey ladies, listening to this past week's episode and the concept of vacuuming the grass brought back," which I love. I like that that's just what we call it now. It's just vacuuming the grass. And we know exactly what that means.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brought back a memory from a date I went on a couple years ago.
Yes.
My boyfriend at the time and I loved going to the zoo together, so much so that we bought season passes and went several times over the summer. One time while we were there, we were walking down a path and there was another couple not that far in front of us. I'd guess somewhere in their early college years. Very cute couple. All of a sudden, with no prompt, I hear the guy say out loud, "You know, if I had to break up with someone, I would do it at the zoo because you can't be sad at the zoo."
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The girl froze mid-step, turned, and gave him the most what the fuck look I have ever seen. I stopped, grabbed my partner's arm, and moved off to the side of the path behind some branches. Yes. Had a full-on Kim Kardashian behind the bush moment.
She's like reconnaissance.
I love it. He asked what was going on because he wasn't paying attention to the couple, and I told him. We spent the next 5 minutes behind a bush listening to this poor dude try and explain to his girlfriend that he didn't mean right now, that he was just thinking out loud and how much he loved her.
Oh, no.
She was having none of it.
Yeah.
My ex and I, being the tea-loving guys that we were, spent the rest of the afternoon following this couple around. The cold air coming off this girl in the middle of summer could be felt from 20 feet away.
Oh, no.
Every time he tried to hold her hand put his arm around her, she either walked a little faster or took a half step to the side, enough to make it look awkward. Again, this is such a 19-year-old passive-aggressive girl move where you're like, I'm pissed. I remember one time, and this is so embarrassing. I'm doing a lot of spiritual work and realizing how many times in my past that I was actually the problem. But I remember one time in my last relationship where I was probably like 21 and my boyfriend said something about how hot Katy Perry was. Oh, I was mad for like the rest of the night about something that I'm like, you're never going to meet her. Like, just ridiculous. Okay.
Oh my God. The levels of insecurity though that you have at that age.
Yes.
That and like you said, when you really logic it out, it's like, what is he really going to leave you for Katy fucking Perry?
Exactly. But I think you look at it in terms of like, this person's very different from me, like physically different from me. And if he's into that, does that mean that he's not into me? You haven't developed your security. And clearly this girl, she's like, why are you talking about breaking up with anybody? We're going to be together forever. You should never have to think about breaking up with another person for the rest of your life. You know, obviously what was going through it. And I just love the idea that these two walked behind them the entire day at the park just to be like, oh, what else is going to happen?
Same. That is exactly what I would be doing.
This wild animal here.
Exactly. Here we have the college couple in their natural habitat.
It's a real zoo experience.
He says, I have no idea how it ended, unfortunately, because as far as I know, they were still together when they left. I have never paid so little attention to the animals at the zoo before, but I could not split my focus enough to keep track of them and give the animals my attention. One thing at a time. Yeah, we have passes. It's fine. You may not be able to be sad at the zoo, but she proved that you can for sure be pissed. Yes. And this is from Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's
perfect.
Amazing.
Oh, it's so funny.
Okay. So I have a really long one that we got from a Patreon supporter.
Nice.
So a few summers ago, my boyfriend of a couple years suggested we go on a date over the long holiday weekend that would recreate our very first date. The sentiment alone was really sweet, and I figured, why not? That Friday of the long weekend rolls around, and he starts asking me if I'm going to go get my nails done. He didn't just ask once, he asked multiple times, which was really weird.
That makes you feel like you're going to get proposed to.
Yeah, it's immediately what comes into my head.
Right? So it's really weird because he's never given a crap about my nails before. The morning of our date, Sunday came, and my sister texted me, what am I going to be wearing tonight? Again, strange, because as close as my sister and I are,
everybody needs to be cool. Everybody needs to be cool. Because when Anthony proposed to me, that's how I knew something was up. When he was like, do you want to change into, I'm actually wearing the shirt I got proposed in, but but he was like, do you want to change into something like nicer? And I was like, to go to a haunted house? Like, no, I don't.
No.
Like, why would I?
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm
like,
perfectly fine.
You're acting real suspicious.
He did do as close as my sister and I are, what we're wearing each day has never been part of our conversation. I told her I was probably going to get a manicure and then maybe just throw on a sundress. The date location was Santa Monica Pier, so I didn't want to wear anything I couldn't roll up to allow my feet to get into the water. So I go about my day, get my mani, watch a movie, do some chores, and then get dressed for our night out. He looked super handsome in one of his maybe 3 button-down shirts. Being a photographer, he made sure to grab his camera bag so that he could take sunset photos at the pier. We had been living together for a year at this point, so we got in the car and headed down.
If she doesn't get proposed to by the end of this story, I'm going to be greatly disappointed.
But yeah, it's just going to take a turn because like all signs point to proposal.
Yeah.
So she says C, K, and C. I think this is a good time to elaborate to your listeners outside of Los Angeles on the absolute purgatory that 405 traffic can be.
Oh, Let's talk about it. I understand that people from Los Angeles get this reputation for always talking about traffic, and probably people from other places don't care. But the reason why
don't get it.
You just don't get it. Like, the reason why it's a topic of conversation so often is because
it's your reality.
A disaster. And the 405 is the worst.
The worst.
Mm-hmm. It's the worst.
Fucking worst.
Also, can we talk about the fact that, like, we never go to the beach? Like, I think people are like, think that we go to the beach like all the time. And I'm like, we literally.
To be honest, I would if I lived over there.
Yeah.
If I lived on the west side, I would live at the beach if I could, because I love the beach. But I
love the beach so much, but honestly, like, going west of the 405 is such a fucking nightmare. Like, trying to get there.
We planned pre-COVID as a group our beach outings weeks in advance, so that all of us were on the same page. We could mentally get ready for it.
That's so true.
We knew when we were going.
By the time we get to Santa Monica, I was already drained from traffic, which was right about when we noticed the insane amount of smoke in the air. Santa Monica was downwind from the notorious Southern California wildfire, and all of the smoke and ash was falling right into the coast. Gross. If you know what that feels like, you know.
Yeah, the whole...
It's just disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, even... when fires are burning over in that direction, like Calabasas or whatever, it smells like a campfire in the valley where we are, which is like,
and your cars are covered in ash.
Yeah.
Legitimately covered in ash.
Yes, your pool is covered in ash. Like, it's for real. Yeah.
It took forever to find place to park. Duh. It's a long weekend and everyone is at the beach. You made plans to come down here without having cash for parking. I snapped. I was nauseous from the smell. I had to pee. I was hungry. I don't just get hungry, though. Like, my mom always had snacks for me in her purse because I get hangry.
Oh.
Christina, I was actually going to say getting hangry in traffic is probably one of the worst feelings. Like, I remember getting, like, legitimately mad at Anthony one time. Not his fault, just because, like, I was hungry before we left the house.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him that, and he was like, we have to get going. And then we were stuck in traffic for, like, an hour. And I was like, I've never... hated you more.
Oh, I know. I
it's not his fault.
Turned into a fucking monster. Those Snickers commercials are real life for me.
Real life. Yeah. At this point, I'm still outwardly calm, even though the dread inside of me was bubbling. So at this point, we have traffic. The state is on fire. Finding parking is a nightmare, and I'm hangry. Finally, he finds a garage that accepts card and has some open spaces. He gets out of the car and grabs his camera bag from the trunk like a normal human being, while I peel my sugarless blooded body out of the passenger seat like a troll I had become. I can't hide it anymore. The mask is down. Please feed me. I need fresh air. Like, straight up hashtag SOS.
Like a full-on, like, gremlin. She's like, if I don't have the exact right amount of sunlight, water, and food,
right.
I'm gonna freak out.
He says we have some time before our reservation anyway. Oh, Lord, feed me, please. So we take a walk down to the pier, thinking the air would be a little bit less smoky by the water. By the way, there are people everywhere. The pier is very busy, and you can't go far without getting bumped or stepped on. The beach wasn't any different. Let me mention to you now that I'm autistic, so my sensory processing isn't the same as most people. So think of all these uncomfortable details I've mentioned, but then add on the fact that I have more elevated experience with them. Please laugh along with me. Don't let this detail change your reactions. Help me spread awareness that people on the autism spectrum can date and be successful without being viewed as a, quote, inspiration.
Oh, dude.
Representation matters, and there are a lot of autistic women out there like me who have almost no public voice.
Preach.
So, wow. That... hits.
It does, right? And I think it's important. No, and it was all in parentheses, but I'm like, I really wanted to share that because I do think it's important.
Yeah,
agree.
Absolutely.
We stopped at our spot on the pier with no real significance other than that it's super crowded, and because it's tucked to the side from the main walkway, the area wasn't as loud. Well, except for the carnival rides that blinked and went off every few minutes. My boyfriend bends down to dig his camera out my boyfriend bends down to dig in his camera bag, but turns it away every time I glance down in its direction. So I continue just staring out of the water, hoping for some sort of Deus ex machina arrives to bring me food and breathable air. I turned back
this
to
poor
see.
girl, and actually, like, poor him too. Like, he's obviously thought about this and tried to plan this like really beautiful,
Elaborate
wonderful day, and it's just like everything is working against him. Like, this
the world is
poor
working
man.
against him. I turn back to see what he's digging for, and out comes a small white box, which he is gripping on to for dear life, because we are on the freaking Santa Monica Pier, and there are a lot of little cracks and holes on those floorboards. In that moment, I realize what is going on. So she just now is like, I see, I'm with you. If somebody asked me to do my fucking nails, I'd be like,
already.
What?
I'm like,
yeah.
You're asking me to do my nails. You're asking me what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
You're insisting we do this thing, even though traffic sucks and
it's terrible.
It smells like ash. And I'm like, yeah, you're for sure getting proposed to.
No.
Well, this probably was only span of like few seconds at most. It felt like an eternity. Everything flashes before me. And the grumpy troll I've become suddenly loses all ability to do anything else except stand there. In these 2 seconds of paralyzed surprise, I realized I had made a joke a while ago not to propose to me if my nails look bad. And he must have remembered, which is why he was asking me all weekend.
I got proposed to
if
when
I
my
had an
nails
appointment.
looked bad. Just saying.
Oh, I did too, for sure. I also realized that I have been a hangry beast all afternoon and evening up to this point, and provided lots of reasons for the dude to just say never mind.
To back out.
like-
I know. He's like, he had so many signs that were like, I don't know, man.
So now I'm in sensory overload, under smoke and blinking lights, and the love of my life is down on one knee, barely getting out.
Amazing.
Will you marry me?
Amazing.
In my head, I play the appropriate response while I stare at him with eyes as wide as dinner plates. I do the cute, oh my God, knee bend and cover my face and smile and say yes and start crying. In my head, I'm kind of like when you hit the snooze, when you go back to sleep, you dream that you did actually wake up and shower and leave for work until you actually wake up and panic, guilt, and confusion that ensues when you realize you've overslept and you're late. So picture me standing there, eyes wide open, dude on his knees, waiting for my response, and I can't say anything. My mind went from going 100 miles an hour to completely blank. I'm so excited, but also felt really, really bad. I was just such a grouch when he just tried to plan something really romantic to propose. Why didn't I realize it sooner? After standing there in silence for at least 45 seconds, I finally was able
Oh my
to
God.
say,
that poor man. Like, can you imagine? Like, I try and put myself in the shoes of men and these like societal pressures that we put on them to like be the person to ask you out on a date, be the person to propose. And I can't think of what it must be like to put yourself in that like extremely vulnerable situation.
You're just sitting there and all these people are passing by.
They're looking at you on your knees.
And 45 seconds is so long.
An
too.
eternity.
It might as well be 3 fucking hours.
An eternity. Oh, precious.
So finally, she very confused, yes. And he puts the ring on my finger and gave me a kiss. Then I turned back to the ocean and stared for another 3-ish minutes. This is how I
3
made
minutes just staring into the ocean. He's like,
This is how I made it really horrible for him, because my lack of outward excitement made him doubt my answer.
Oh.
I scared the crap out of the poor guy. After I calmed down, I could finally explain that I was caught off guard and confused, and that my reaction wasn't because I was unhappy with the proposal. I was just in a different planet and had to process. I felt terrible. Our dinner was wonderful, and the rest of the night was really special. Apparently, he had planned the whole thing to set up his camera with the beach and then propose with the waves crashing behind us at sunset. My parents and close friends all knew about it a week ahead of time after he'd snuck over to my parents' house to ask them for their blessing, support, permission, whatever. This was why my sister wanted to know what I was wearing, so everyone knew but me, the grumpy ass troll. At dinner, we decided to call anyone, not to call anyone about the engagement until the next day. We ended up having no pictures or anything from the engagement and decided to just leave it within our own memory. Everyone else could wait until the next day. The dude nailed the ring, by the way. It was exactly what I wanted. We got married in June 2019, and we were super duper happy. Sometimes even terrible dates turn into wonderful things. My husband is the best guy in the world, and I've never been happier. I make sure to always have snacks with me. As a 29-year-old woman, so the hangry troll doesn't come out again. My husband and I love your podcast. Enjoy our story of how I turned my poor husband's engagement plans into a disaster, but still married me.
Oh my God. That's how, first of all, he really loves you, which is amazing that, you can be grumpy. It's okay. You're going to have a lifetime of different emotions happening, and you got to love each other through it anyway. And I realized that I did just call her a lucky bitch for getting married in June 2019. But there is this very funny, polarization between 2020 brides and 2019 brides. If you're in any wedding groups where we're just these hoes got in right under the wire. Everybody,
how dare you?
Everybody who scheduled their wedding for 2020 is like, fuck. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Congratulations, Michelle.
I am actually would love to be proposed to Venice Beach, right after sunset. The beach at dark is literally my fucking favorite place in the whole fucking world. So,
what would be a great place is Paradise Cove, where you can actually in Malibu, where you can actually sit out on the beach and they'll bring you champagne in the evening. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I love the beach.
Right, noted.
All right, you guys, this one's kind of a journey.
Okay.
I'm excited.
I have so many feelings. I think you guys will too. So I'll get started. So I meet this girl I've been chatting to on Tinder for a midweek post-work drink. Everything's going swimmingly. She's funny, smart, super hot, and into me. It starts getting late, and she invites me back to hers. Awesome. I accept, we book an Uber, and off we trot. She lives miles away. It's a full 45-minute journey in the cab into the arse end of nowhere in a random part of the city.
In a cab? No, I'm sorry.
I hate this.
I hate it already. I'm like, no. But do you remember Ubers?
Yeah.
R.I.P. No one can take an Uber anymore.
We go to the house that she shares with a friend of hers. Not a problem. There are plenty of options for me to get to work the next day, so we just make out a lot in the cab to pass the time. Get back to hers.
That poor cab driver is like, that'd be me as a cab driver. People in the back seat making out, and you're just like, ugh. Love. Gross.
Yeah, no. That's
Taxi Cab Confessions. You remember that show?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We get back to hers around 1 a.m., creeping past her housemate's room to get to hers where sex happens. I'm feeling pretty good about what I thought was pretty good sex until...
Oh, no. Simon Cowell came in.
Oh, no. She's criticizing him. She's writing him at a score on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, no.
She reaches for her phone midway through.
No.
Confusing, especially since she didn't exactly wait for a lull in the action.
No.
I'm literally inside her as this happens.
No. You're mid-thrust.
No.
And she grabs her phone.
She dials a number and pushes it to her ear.
No. Stop it. Stop it.
What?
No.
Who are you calling? I ask, unsure whether to withdraw. I do not withdraw. I'm just calling my boyfriend, she says.
I'm sorry. No.
What?
No.
Okay.
No.
What?
So he's inside her. Phone is ringing to her boyfriend.
No.
Bring. kidding.
Ma'am, who raised you?
I think unsure how exactly I should feel about this. I raised a number of pertinent points with her in response, including, but not limited to, you have a boyfriend? You didn't tell me that. And why the fuck are you calling him at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night while you are literally having sex with a guy you met on Tinder? I do not withdraw. Putting her finger to my lips, she says, matter-of-factly, shh, it's ringing.
Oh my God. Is he in some kind of like weird, wait. Did you get this story from like a Hustler writing? It sounds like a fantasy somebody had.
I go quiet.
This is a penthouse for it.
While still doggedly not withdrawing.
Oh.
Wait, I really need to know, is he on top or is she on top?
Dude, I feel like he's on top. And I'm
right,
like, that's
he
how
like
I'm
could
seeing
easily
it in my
pull
head.
out.
So he's thrust in and she grabs her phone and he's still like in there and she's dialing and he's like, what do I do? And he's like, still like.
I feel like you have to withdraw. I feel like you have to. You have to.
The conversation between her and her boyfriend is hard to recount here, but the gist of it is that she tells him very directly exactly what is going on and then invites him over for a threesome.
Oh, that's has been planned.
Okay.
This motherfucker.
You need to have a conversation with your Tinder date before you do that. You don't know if he's interested in crossing swords with another man
that he's never
during your
met.
date.
Crossing the sword.
Like,
oh my God.
That's entrapment.
It is.
Really is.
We talked about, we're not here to yuck anybody's yum, but you can't fucking thrust your fucking fantasy or fetish onto somebody unwillingly.
Consent.
This is entrapment. Is she a police officer for the Portland PD?
Ooh. Now, with a bit of warning, I probably would have given a thumbs up, but not at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday with someone I just met and another participant who I've never actually met. I withdraw.
There you go.
He's finally
had to.
I yield my time. Fuck you.
Before I can say thanks so very much for the offer, but I fear I must politely decline, her boyfriend responds. He is furious.
Oh.
So the boyfriend wasn't in on this either.
I thought he was in on it.
I did too.
I thought that this was a plan. What is wrong with her? Why would she think that this would work? Like, why? Because she thought this through. Like, she planned it. She's like, I'm going to find somebody on Tinder. I have a fantasy, right? I'm going to find somebody on Tinder, and then I'm going to facilitate this. I'm going to make it happen.
Wow.
How
I have a mask for her.
She not? How did she not anticipate this?
Right.
This reaction.
So
what would you do if somebody woke me up
at 2 a.m. on
boyfriend
a Tuesday
wakes you up out of sleep to tell you that they're fucking somebody else and they like you to come over?
Please don't come home.
Imagine.
No.
Oh, you're about to have a waiting to exhale moment.
I just changed the locks to my house.
That is just exactly what I was thinking of. Like, not only is your stuff on the front yard, but it's also on fucking fire.
Yeah, because switch the genders like for a minute. It's bad enough as it is, but switch the genders. If your boyfriend, if Eric called you at 2 a.m. and was like, "Hey, I'm fucking somebody. I'd love you to come join."
Oh, I got heated thinking of that. So that's the thing. It's like if you had a conversation beforehand. Like, I'm like that dude. I'm like, well, let's fucking talk about it. Is this something that you want? Like, I'm down. I'm down to have a conversation and, who knows? Like,
to have an open dialogue. Yeah.
I'm not that kind of person that's like, sex with another person is a deal breaker. I'm definitely a little bit more open to that. But I'm not open to.
Not okay with this.
Not open to just getting a phone call in the middle of the night saying, like,
No.
we haven't had a conversation or anything like that. That's a betrayal, and we're done. We're done.
Yes. Agreed. Mm-hmm.
It's almost like
communication.
It reminds me of like my parents when I turned 18. They were like, we don't have any rules for you.
Cassie and I were both like, I'm sorry, what?
all you have to do is tell us where you're at. And I was such a little asshole that I still like lied and snuck around. And that's what got me busted. I got kicked out of, my mom kicked me out, and she was just like, just that one rule. And that's what I think of, you know, when I think of the great communication that I have in my relationship right now, where I'm like, I just have like one rule, like, let's talk about it beforehand. You know what I mean? And so to have somebody, like, I don't have any fucking rules or ownership or anything like that over Eric. He can do him. I'm just saying, like, let's talk about it first, and then I can decide whether or not I want to be a party to that, if I'm cool with it or not. But yeah, somebody just fucking flat out not respecting that small thing. Oh,
communicate.
Nope.
Woof.
Okay, so he's furious that she's having sex with another man, furious that she felt the need to call him midway through, furious that she would invite him over to join in, generally, and quite rightly, not at all happy with the situation.
I love this person's writing style, by the way.
Yes.
Amazing.
They proceed to have a blazing row while I kind of hang out there feeling a little bit stupid and trying to figure out how the fuck I'm going to get home from this place very, very far away from where I live in the middle of the night.
At 2 a.m. too, where like Ubers are far less frequent at that time of night too. You're going to have to wait for somebody to get there.
Yeah,
it's going to take forever. Like in that span of time, the boyfriend could come over.
Right.
And that's not something I want to deal with at all.
With a stranger. She hangs up and says, I have to go and fix my relationship with my boyfriend. He lives around the corner. I'll be 30 minutes max. Just hang out here.
It's going to take her 30 minutes to fix her whole ass relationship? Bitch. How?
Who is this woman?
No.
I don't know. I don't
Honestly,
know.
who the fuck is this person? Like, who? Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
The confidence, though.
Why the
Big
fuck?
balls on Brett.
I decided to stay and not just run away is beyond me. But the bed was comfortable, and the thought of a midnight mission to the other side of town did not fill me with good feelings. She leaves.
Sarah, this is going to end badly for you.
I wait up for about 10 minutes before I fall asleep. I awake to my alarm. She hasn't come back, and I'm alone, exactly where she left me. Probably for the best.
Oh, yeah. That's the best ending that this could have.
Honestly, the best ending.
I make a quick dash for the bathroom for a shower before I head to the office. Passive-aggressively used her good shampoo and the nicest towel I can find.
That'd be me. Hi.
I am wrapped in said towel as I leave the bathroom to get changed to go to work.
I'm so nervous.
This is when I meet the housemate. Who are you? She says, accusingly. She is small, but clearly very angry about a strange man in her shared bathroom.
Oh, man.
Imagine if you were that roommate.
No.
Okay, can we also talk about how this woman that he went on this date with,
bitch.
This woman that he went on this date with is a nightmare roommate. You know she is. Because she
does not do dishes at all, ever.
And she can't understand why you would ever ask her to. Like, she's clueless.
And she's like, why are you so upset right now? It's not a big deal.
How much do you want to just slap her in the face?
I shot off warning shots.
I am banging pots and pans right now.
I'll do the dishes, but it's going to be loud as fuck. There's going to be water all over these counters. How about that?
Said, I was here with your housemate last night. I say, very conscious that I am in a towel in her hallway. You're not her boyfriend, she says.
Nope.
I sure am not. Thank you.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I say. I'm in a towel in the hallway. Where is she? This is totally unacceptable, she says.
I really hope these two hook up. I really hope that that's what happens.
That would be the best. Ha! Yeah. Well, she's not here. Long story, I say, still in a towel in the hallway. I don't believe you. Have you broken into my house?
Oh, no.
The conversation breaks down there as she starts screaming. She runs around the house to make sure things haven't been stolen and finds my clothes in her housemate's room. She picks them up and flings them out the front door, screaming that she's going to call the police. She yanks the towel off me in the process. So I get dressed on the street in the middle of a fucking London winter as two mothers are taking their children to school walk past. Perfect. Call a cab, go to the office swearing never, ever, ever to use Tinder ever again, and that I should never, ever go back to this part of town in case the police arrest me and put me on one of a number of potential lists.
Yay.
Well, okay, so that makes me wonder, the girl that he went on the date with, is she always like that? Because I feel like you would know if you were with a roommate that would do something like that. You know what I mean? Like if I was with someone like that and some guy was like, oh yeah, long story, I did go on a date with her. I feel like if I knew this person, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like Sheila, right? You know what I mean? I'd be like, okay, yeah, that sounds like her. It sounds like something she would do.
No, but there's always got to be a first time for that kind of behavior. You know what I mean? So
yeah, maybe they're new roommates.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
My God, a journey. I just pictured, for me, I'm like a dude inside you at the time, and you just reach for the phone and start dialing. It's so bad. Oh my God.
Well, thanks. I hate it. Oh my God.
Okay. Are you guys ready for a high school crazy in love story?
Oh wow.
Always.
Okay. Today we are going to talk about Britain's youngest ever double murderers.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Let's get started.
This really is like a 19-year-old episode. Totally point.
It totally is. I mean, gosh, it was hard for me this week trying to pick my crazy in love. I had like one half written and then was just like, I just don't feel it. I just don't feel it. So I went down a YouTube rabbit hole and I saw the image for this one and I recognized the mugshots and I was like, God, what do I know that from? So I watched an episode of Evil Up Close, which is great. It's this like British TV show, like true crime TV show.
Yeah,
perfect.
And they had like a whole series on like kids who kill. And so I'd gone down that rabbit hole before, but I'd never seen this one. So I watched that on YouTube and they had an accompanying article on crimeandinvestigation.co.uk that I read. And then I know this isn't a good source. Please don't come for my throat, everybody from Britain. But The Sun.
Oh.
So I read an article from The Sun. Not a good source. I understand, but I needed some fleshing out of this story. So in 2016, 14-year-old Kim Edwards was living in Spalding, Lincolnshire, which is a small town in Britain, with her mom, Elizabeth, and her younger sister, Katie. So she had had a rocky relationship with her mother from the start, and she'd had kind of a shit childhood, really. I mean, not the worst we've ever heard, but her dad was abusive and left the family when she was very small. And then her relationship with her mom was just really bad. Like, it sounds like the two of them, you know, sometimes personalities just do not mesh. Mm-hmm. Like I have, I know people like that, mother-daughter duos who's like, their personalities just don't
clash.
Just clash. Yeah. And that seems to be the case. So back in 2008, her mother actually hit her. She was 6 years old at the time during an argument. And most of the things that I read said that she was slapped, but there was one thing that I said that she punched her, which to punch a 6-year-old is major yikes. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but she did hit her. And we know that because the mother, Liz Edwards, turned herself into social services afterwards.
Oh, shit.
Which led to both Katie and Kim going into care temporarily while social services did a check on the family. But they soon determined that Liz wasn't a threat to her children, and so they closed the file on the family pretty quickly, and normal life seemed to resume for the family. But still, the relationship between Kim and Elizabeth was bad, and it just continued to go from bad to worse. Kim would constantly run away. One time, she went to support workers and claimed that her mother had tried to throttle her. We don't really know if that's true or not. But after finding a suicide note written by Kim, Elizabeth arranged for an emergency psychiatric assessment of Kim. And so they took her into the hospital. They did a psychiatric assessment and they found no signs of mental illness. So they sent her home. So Kim's father, like I said, had left the family very early whenever Kim was a child, a very small child. And he was extremely abusive to the point where her mother, Elizabeth, had spent time in various women's shelters during their relationship to get away from the abuse. And Kim claims, she would later claim that during her fights with her mother would often tell her that she would turn out like her father, which is super hurtful. You know, if that's what happened, like that's incredibly emotionally shitty.
Yeah.
So Kim felt especially alone because her mother and her sister Katie had a close bond and they got on very well. So there's this trio living in this family unit, you know, a mom and two daughters, and it makes sense that she would feel isolated and outcast if those two get along very well and you don't. And Katie was popular. She was sweet. She was like a perfect child. And then you have Kim, who is running away, suicidal, not getting along with her mom. She actually called Katie an angel and herself a train wreck. So she felt isolated from her family unit completely. So when Kim was 14, she starts dating a classmate, and it's a kid named Lucas Markham. So Lucas, who is also 14,
sounds familiar.
has, I bet you'll recognize this when we get to the end. He has also had a troubled childhood and family life. There were domestic violence incidents within his home, and so at a very young age, him and his brother were taken out of the home and placed to live with an aunt. And while he was living with his aunt, his mother developed leukemia and passed away. And as far as I can tell, pretty much like without her children getting to say goodbye or see her. So that's fairly traumatic. And he developed major difficulties at school. He was often sent away to what they continued to call the behavioral unit, which I don't know exactly what that is in a school. I'm not sure, but maybe it's something that they have in Britain. It sounds like it was like a separate building because he would get into physical fights. Like he had massive anger issues. Kim actually said that the first time that she saw Lucas, he was throwing a chair across the room.
Jesus.
And she was like, that's the one for me, you know.
I like a project.
I love
exactly.
anger.
I love anger. It's my favorite. So both of these kids don't really feel any connection to the people in their lives until they meet each other. And as we've seen in the past, especially with duos like this who become extremely codependent, it's easy to develop this attachment, really, really strong attachment with someone when you feel like it's like us against the world. Nobody understands you except for this other person. You don't feel a love for the people that you're living with in your house. And so things escalated very quickly. They started to have sex right away, and they were spending all of their time together, which makes sense for a 14-year-old relationship. 14. Both of them are 14.
Babies.
Fucking
babies.
Yeah. I mean, but like at 14, I mean, not for me, not the sex part, but the becoming, even as an adult, I feel like when you get into a new relationship, you have a tendency to sink into that relationship and spend all your time together. Yep. But it's magnified when you're a teenager. And maybe this is the first person you've ever had these feelings for, you know?
Yeah.
So Kim's mom did not approve of this relationship with Lucas. She thought that he reminded her of some of the people that she had dated in her past and thought that the relationship was too intense. And she discouraged Kim from seeing Lucas. And for a time, it seems as though Kim did try to take her mother's advice and stay away from him at school, but this made Lucas furious, right? Like, he was mad that like somebody was trying to step in between their relationship. And so it didn't last very long. Of course it didn't, you know? And so at this point, after like 2 months of dating, not very long, the relationship becomes completely all-consuming. And as we've seen many times, the harder the mom pushes to break it off, the harder Kim pushes back to stay in the relationship. And Elizabeth actually told a friend that the two were, quote, a time bomb waiting to go off. Classmates recall Kim saying on more than one occasion that she wished her mother was dead, but they didn't think anything of it. I mean, they're teenagers. They're teenagers. And, you know, people say things. I remember being a teenager and that kind of like, I could just kill her or like whatever.
Sure.
That kind of thing. And who knows in what context.
But usually it's just one flippant statement, not something you make
ongoing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think back to me at 14, and I don't think I ever could have pictured one of my classmates following through with something like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
In March of 2016, Kim overdosed on painkillers in an attempt to kill herself. And so her mother has her hospitalized, puts her in the hospital. When Kim is released from the hospital, both her and Lucas run away from their respective homes, and are found 5 days later sleeping in a forest outside of Lincolnshire. It's just really childlike the way that they went about it.
Yeah.
Like they left on their bikes.
Yeah.
Okay, they packed bags.
We could camp forever.
Make it
Forever.
That's exactly what they did. They packed like bags of food and left on their bikes and set up a tent in the forest the next town over. Like they weren't going to get caught. I mean, to be honest, the fact that they made it 5 days is kind of remarkable.
Yeah, right.
Kind of amazing. So Liz is now more determined than ever to keep the two away from each other. Of course you would be as a parent. Like, your kid just ran away for 5 days.
Right.
You know, after coming out of the hospital
And she's 14.
And she's 14.
And
14.
This is so different too, because I'm like, it really is different if they were 16 or 17. You know what I mean?
True.
But 14 is, oh my God, if you haven't been around a 14-year-old lately, they are babies.
Well, let me tell you, just Google images of these kids. Like, look at them, especially
or don't, because I don't want the FBI after me.
But especially him. No, not just any 14-year-old, Cassie. I mean, these kids in particular. Don't Google 14-year-old children in your Google search bar. Don't do that. I mean, like, if you want to look up pictures of Lucas Markham and Kim Edwards.
But I like nuts.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Lucas especially, he looks like a baby. Like, he looks like a baby. And he is slightly younger than Kim. He is a little bit younger than her. But she's more determined, Elizabeth is more determined than ever to keep the two away from each other. But they are more determined than ever to stay together. So on April 9th, 2016, the two go to where Lucas is staying. They say it like that, like it's not his house. I'm like, where Lucas is staying, his aunt's house, I guess.
Right.
And they barricade themselves in his room. And that's when Kim realizes that she's left her contraceptive pill in her bedroom. So the two of them climb out of Lucas's window to go get it. And when she gets to her house, she sees that her mother has cleared all of her things out of the house, and that she's even given some of Kim's things to Katie.
Oh.
So, right. Yeah, totally. I read that and I was like, you already feel like you're not loved. You already feel like, you know, there's some jealousy there with your sister. Even though you love your sister, there's like a jealousy thing happening there. And then your mom, in an attempt, I'm guessing, to show some tough love, kicks you out of the house and gives your things to your sister. So not good. So later in court, it would be suggested that this was the moment that the two of them decided that they had to do something about Kim's mom. So both Liz and Katie were well liked within their town and community. So regardless of what we think about Liz slapping a 6-year-old, which is awful, it seems as though she did kind of turn over a leaf. She got her kids back. She was working for a local charity. And I know that none of this necessarily means she was a good person, but she was working for a charity. She was working with the local schools. She was an active member in her church.
And we also have to encourage growth in people. It could be she herself had gotten out of an abusive relationship. She had two kids, and she may have had a moment of weakness or a lapse in judgment. And the key to me too is that she turned herself in. She realized oh my fucking God, I lost it. I need help, and fucking got herself help. And it sounds like, that's what we want people to do. People are not perfect, and people are going to do terrible, shitty things. But it seems like she did the most responsible thing by seeking out help and making sure that she was going to be a good mom.
Right. And in dealing with your own trauma, sometimes you completely fuck up.
Right.
And you're doing the best you can. And it does seem to me from the things that I've read that given a tough hand, she was dealt a tough hand of cards. And it seems that given that, she was really trying to do the best that she could. And there was a Facebook post, so I guess right after or right before Kim went to the hospital for trying to overdose on painkillers, she had changed her Facebook profile picture from one where she was smiling and happy to a very serious, emo 14-year-old black and white non-smiling photo. And her mom commented on that picture and said, "What happened to my beautiful, happy, smiling girl?" So it does sound like, to me, from the little that I have, she loved and cared about her daughter. I do think that she loved her. It's just that sometimes, again, personalities clash, things happen. And had this relationship been allowed to mature, it's very likely that the relationship would have changed.
Right.
If both, could have been open to allowing it to change. But Katie, the little sister who's 2 years younger than Kim, was very popular in school, kind of the opposite of Kim, who was kind of like an outcast loner type. Katie, on the other hand, was very well known at school. Everybody knew her. They liked her. And I think that there was some jealousy. So not only does Kim have jealousy at home, but she has jealousy at school as well. And again, you don't know what happens behind closed doors, but a lot of the neighbors said that they had no idea that Kim and Liz had such a bad relationship. They didn't see it whenever the family would be out together. They knew Liz as a mother, and they didn't see that relationship was deteriorated.
They kept it private.
Yeah, to that degree. So, So Lucas ends up getting expelled from school for fighting around this time. And so the two aren't able to meet up during the day. And so Kim and Lucas start having meetings together outside of school. At one point, Kim asks what they should do. And Lucas says, quote, "I wish I could kill them." And Kim says, "Yeah." But she thinks it's a joke at this point, and when she realizes that Lucas is serious, she starts to take the idea more seriously. And you can hear all of their police interviews. It's a really weird thing to listen to because, again, they sound like children. Right. They sound like kids. So Kim and Lucas had a classmate named Adam Free, and Adam Free's father had been murdered by 5 young people, youths, just the year before. And Adam says he had been friends with both Kim and Lucas at school, and he says that Lucas began to question him constantly about the details of his father's case, and he was particularly interested in the outcome of the court case in which one of the youths was convicted, but the other 4 were acquitted. And he wanted details about why those 4 were acquitted when they were obviously participants in that murder. So Kim and Lucas continue their nightly meetings, and they meticulously plan the details of what would come next. They plan a route that would allow Lucas to avoid CCTV and decide that Lucas is going to pack some knives in a backpack and walk over to Kim's house. He'd then come into the backyard, climb over a fence, up some scaffolding, and knock 3 times on Kim's window. So after the murders, the 2 had made a pact to kill themselves. They were like, we're going to do this thing and then we'll kill ourselves. So in Lucas's backpack, he also packed alcohol and painkillers for after the deed was done. So Monday evening arrives, and after school, he does this. But when he climbs the scaffolding and knocks on the window, Kim doesn't open the window for him. She's asleep. Now, we can kind of speculate about, like, was she really asleep? Because don't you think if you had planned something like this, unless there was something really wrong with you.
I don't think you could sleep.
Yeah. You'd be anxious. You'd be awake. But she doesn't pick up. She's like, I was sorry, I was sleeping. So the next day, the 2 meet up. This kind of cracked me up given our entire Pizza Hut story. But the two meet back up at the local McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
As you do.
They got play place.
They got some nugs and some milkshakes.
Chicken nuggies.
I don't know what they got, but I like to picture that. They got a kid's meal. And Lucas questions Kim's commitment to this entire situation. I would too. I'd be like, I walked 30 minutes, climbed a fence and some scaffolding for you, bitch. Where were you?
Was planning on murdering your family. How committed to
yes.
Oh my God.
And so he asks her several times if she's absolutely sure she wants to follow through with this. And she says, yes, I'm absolutely sure. So they decide to try again. So that Tuesday night, he does the same thing, packs the knives, walks the same route, knocks on the window. And again, she's asleep and doesn't answer. Suspicious. So again, on Tuesday afternoon, they go back to the McDonald's and he's like, yo, it really doesn't seem like you actually want to do this. And she's like, no. I'll be awake this time. Pinky swear. Cool.
Pinky swear.
You know that's how it went.
Yeah, it did.
And so on the night of Wednesday, the 13th of April, he does the same thing as before. He knocks on the window, and this time she lets him into the house. And he says that he knocks on the window, he sees her, she waves, and he gives a thumbs up. And then she directs him to come in through the bathroom window. So he walks along the scaffolding because she shares a bedroom with Katie. So she doesn't want him to come in through the window where Katie's at. So they go in through the bathroom window. And they open the bag, and it contains 4 large kitchen knives, 2 for himself and 2 for Kim. And they prepare the weapons according to their plan. And their plan is that Lucas is going to go into Liz's room and stab her in the throat to keep her from screaming, while Kim goes to her 13-year-old sister's bed to kill her. So Kim stays in the bathroom while Lucas goes into Kim's mother's bedroom.
Liz's room, right?
Liz's room, yes. And Liz is lying on the bed on her side. She's sleeping on her side. Trigger warning. I feel like, anyway, he straddles her, places a pillow over her head, and then stabs her in the neck.
Oh my God.
And he ends, and they kept saying, which for me is so much more like visceral, that he stabbed her through the voice box.
Oh.
So he ends up stabbing her 8 times, twice in the neck, once in the shoulder, and several times in the hands and arms because she was fighting him. She was fighting back. So it took her quite a while, actually. So Kim says that she heard her mother making noises, and it sounded like there was a scuffle. So she went into the room to check to make sure that he was okay.
Wow.
So she describes the situation in police interviews, and it's really disturbing. She talks about hearing her mother through the gurgling say, "Get off me," and she sees a hand reach out, and she thinks it's Lucas's hand. But when she reaches out to it to touch it, it's actually her mom's hand. And so she has a panic attack, and she describes not liking the smell of what was happening in her.
Oh, does the smell bother you?
Yeah, but it's
murder, you dumb bitch.
It's such a it speaks to the disconnect between the idea and the actual act of doing the reality of like how actually horrible the situation is.
This is a 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 14-year-old brain at work.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Because this is the not grasping the reality and finality of the situation.
Yeah.
Right. It's that
And
whole
she
like
says-
Romeo and Juliet thing, you know, where it's
Right, you can romanticize something. And there's a woman who is on all of these like British crime shows. She's a psychologist. You'd probably recognize her if you saw her. But she was saying how oftentimes we like to demonize child killers more than adult killers, as if they're somehow more evil because we just can't picture children doing things like this. But in reality, it's probably the opposite.
It almost seems more logical because their brains aren't developed.
Because their brains aren't developed. Like that part of your brain that develops like long-term consequences isn't fully formed yet. And so you're not able to accurately see, what's happening. But Kim says that it takes approximately 10 minutes for Lucas to kill Elizabeth.
Jeez.
Which is a really, really long time.
Oh,
I
my
can't
God.
imagine how scary that would be. So in Kim's freak out, she's freaking out. She's had a panic attack. She realizes that she cannot kill her sister. So it's decided that Lucas will have to be the one to do that as well. So he goes to her room, which she shares with Kim. In the thing that they were showing on the show, it made it look like they slept in bunk beds, but I don't know if that's true or not. But so she goes into the room. He does the same thing. He smothers her with the pillow and he starts to stab her. And the forensic evidence does suggest that at one point, Katie did wake up during the attack. So that's all I have on that. And I really didn't want to look into that much further.
No.
But when asked by police why they had to kill Katie, he says that she would have gone to the police. And they say, like, is that the only reason? And he's like, pretty much, yeah. So he goes to Kim.
I thought they were going to kill themselves. What do they care?
He goes to Kim and she asks if her sister struggled, and he says no. And she asks if she's dead, and he says yes. So the two get undressed. He leaves his bloody clothing in Liz's room before they make their way to the bathroom, and they share a bath together before going downstairs, eating tea cakes and ice cream, and putting on the movie Twilight, which they watched together. So
my God.
That's how I knew this story.
Several crimes.
Is because they were called the Twilight Killers.
Murderers,
yeah, because there's something so childlike. Like, it's just so childlike to be like, oh, we can do whatever we want now. Let's go eat junk food and let's have a bath together and go eat junk food and watch Twilight.
Oh.
This like forbidden teenage romance drama together. And it seems like, they completely dissociate from what they've just done. They have sex and they basically just carry on as if nothing has happened when both of the bodies are upstairs still. And they're having to walk past them to go to the bathroom, like where the bathroom is at and things like that, because the bathroom's upstairs. It's it's bizarre. The original plan to kill themselves after the murders fell through, the plan fell through. And later on, Kim would say that the reason she didn't go through with it, with taking the alcohol and the painkillers, was because she, quote, didn't like the smell of alcohol. She's like, I didn't go through with it because I don't like booze.
I'm sure.
I got a very sensitive
I'm
nose.
sure your mom didn't like the feel of the knife. So, you know. Wow.
So they end up spending 2 days together in the home with the bodies, eating junk food, watching movies, and having sex. That's what they do for 2 days. And after a few days, Lucas's aunt reports him missing, as did the school, since neither of them nor Katie had shown up to school. And of course, Liz, who's 49, once this is reported, they start looking into it and they realize that Liz hasn't shown up for work either. And so they decide that immediate action is required. So they go to the house and they break in. They knock on the door. Nobody answers. So they break into the house and they find Kim and Lucas downstairs. And when they ask Kim where her mother is, she says upstairs. And when they ask what's happened, Lucas says, why don't you go and look?
Ooh, yikes.
Okay.
So they go upstairs and they find the bloody bodies of Liz and Katie still lying in their beds. And Kim and Lucas are arrested on suspicion of murder. And Lucas especially looks like a baby in his mugshot. He looks like a fucking child in his mugshot.
Children.
And their interviews are just so bizarre to listen to because they sound like children, but...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. They sound like children, but they are talking very nonchalantly about the murders, and they come clean pretty much immediately, and they start being very honest about what's happened. And the police are like, it was really weird. The way that they were responding was just really, really weird. When asked why they did it, Kim said that she and her mom had never really gotten along, and that her mom had always preferred her sister Katie over her, even though she would never admit it. And when it comes to her sister, she says, I thought it would have been better for my sister to die too. I was not killing my sister out of anger, and I miss her.
That's so sweet of her.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's not because I hate you.
It is the... Okay, so hold on. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing. When asked if she's happy about it, looking back in hindsight, she says, quote, to a point, yes, because my mom doesn't have to deal with me being suicidal, and she doesn't have to wake up worrying every morning to see if I'm still alive, and my sister doesn't have to go through all the heartbreak and like all the emotion and stuff. So she really feels like she's done her family a favor in some way. It's weird. It's like she feels like she's done her... She loved her sister, but she feels like she's done her sister some kind of favor. She's not... She says she's happy about it. She's happy that it happened.
That's a whole, like... That's a narcissist. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's just like, when you notice that she made it about her, she's like, no, I'm saving my mom from having to worry about me, and... You know, I'm saving my...
There's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. So neither of them expressed any remorse or even regret. Like, nothing. That's what makes it so strange. And it's hard, though, because, like, now that they're, spoiler alert, in prison, I guess there's something about their justice system where they are not allowed to be interviewed until they are out of prison. So it's hard to say whether or not they have developed any remorse, but they certainly didn't have any
going
at all. Like in their police interviews, like at all. It's weird. In fact, to a psychiatrist, because Kim ended up trying to, or her defense, I guess, tried to plead some kind of mental disturbance. So she was interviewed by a psychiatrist, and to a psychiatrist, she said, I did not feel anything for my mother. She deserved it, and I'm glad she's dead.
Wow.
So in court, Kim, who is now 15 at this point, makes a plea for manslaughter, but the verdict of the judge and the jury is murder. Lucas was also convicted of murder, and both were given life imprisonment sentences with the minimum term of 17 years, becoming Britain's youngest double murderers. So both will be up for parole in 2033. Lucas will be 32 and Kim will be 33 when they're up for parole.
Fucking young.
Young. I mean, and I saw people say, like, I thought that sentence was too lenient, but they took into account the fact that they're 14.
Yeah. And who knows, like, who knows what the next 17 years of their life is going to be like when their brains fully develop, and if they'll be able to self-reflect.
Putting them into, like, I mean, this isn't a therapy camp. This is like fucking prison.
But I do feel like prisons in other countries are far more about rehabilitation than in America. Like, you know, I feel like they spend a lot more time trying to fix these issues, especially if they know it's somebody who might possibly be released. And I do think it is possible to course correct a 14-year-old. I mean, we talked about Jasmine Richards, I think you did early on, Christina, who was the 12-year-old who kind of did the same thing. Her and her 20-something
werewolf boyfriend.
Fucking werewolf boyfriend murdered her family. And she is out now and by all accounts is a well-adjusted adult who has remorse for the things that she's done. And so it's possible, but the fact that these two, I mean, the police interviews are so it feels psychopathic to me that they have no
psychosis or a like, what is that?
Disassociation. Yeah, completely.
With what happened.
I mean, which is also evidenced by the fact they stayed in the house.
Therapy, like hopefully this is a real rehabilitation, because clearly there are some psychological issues embedded within this.
I mean, and maybe also the fact that they've gotten separation, like as far as I was able to find, is like he really wanted to try and stay in contact with her, and she, I guess, was able to get some distance where she was able to say that she did not want to stay in contact with him. So
that's hopeful.
Maybe there will be progress made. But it was just really sad when I was watching that documentary about it. Like, this community was shook. Like, of course, you know, the school was shook. And these were two, like, well-liked people, you know, who just couldn't, like, people just couldn't fathom that this could happen. And especially two 14-year-olds.
Damn.
So, a bummer of a story.
No, good one.
Shit.
Good one. Dude, it's so weird to me sometimes how, like, we don't talk at all about, we do no, like, prep for these episodes, but how sometimes they just fit together with the theme.
I know.
It's so crazy to me.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Notes to our 19-year-old selves. Don't ever fucking get wrapped up so much in someone else that you murder your family. That's
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a note. That's a general note for everybody.
Yeah, just generally. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just even as an adult, like, don't get wrapped up in somebody else. Don't need their approval so much. Like, take care of, you cannot take care of somebody else if you don't have your shit straight for yourself. Take care of you first.
That's right.
Oof.
Woof. Well, what are you guys watching this week?
Whew. Well, I just finished all of Unsolved Mysteries finally.
Ooh.
I know, it's like 6 episodes. I should have been done a long time ago.
I haven't finished
Did you like the French one?
Yes.
Ooh,
okay.
Right?
Yes. Crazy. Where the fuck is Xavier? I need to know.
Where is
He's
he?
in the United States.
I believe it because unlike, you know, if you spoke Spanish in this country, speaking French in this country,
people are like,
you
ooh,
fancy.
sexy. I like it.
Yeah.
This country is so fucked up.
Yeah, we're fucked. Like we're honestly so fucked.
I think about that a lot because I'm like, if my ancestors were, or like if my grandfather was still alive, you know, and he was, or, you know, his family or whatever, and they were speaking French, nobody would be like, speak English, this is America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's wild. I don't know. Sorry.
No,
Didn't mean to go on that tangent. But
yeah, you're right. Like it's arbitrary and strange.
It's weird. Anyway, I did watch it. Did love it.
Holy crap. Like, first of all, how did he like, yeah, it's just,
Dude,
it's fucking
He didn't get away with shit because they fucking figured that out, I think, way faster than he anticipated.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, it pays to be a nosy neighbor.
Yes.
That neighbor was like 9-1 fucking one.
She's like been vacuuming the grass since day one.
Like, she was looking out those windows like,
she's like, those shutters are still closed.
This seems strange.
I don't like this.
Sometimes having a nosy neighbor pays off. Just saying.
His friend, though, listening to his friend talk, I was so like, it really broke my heart because, you know, he's like, you think you know somebody. Like, this is somebody I grew up with. Like, I can't believe in this beautiful family he had, you know, almost that you could almost see him being like, I was almost envious of this thing that, you know, I look at from the outside.
Family. Oh, my God. Those were some of the
wow.
best looking children I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, the
Beautiful
girl
family. And
was beautiful.
How sweet. I mean, like he literally like came in, adopts like this, you know, son and
yeah. I mean, I get it.
Also, I don't want that to sound, I need to really clarify that you're not a savior because you adopt a child. Okay.
Right. But no, everything about, I understand it. It's like everything about this person. It would be hard. Like if I ever found out that one of you had done something atrocious, I'd be like, no. I would be that person. Yeah. I'd be like, no way.
No way.
I know them.
Yeah.
I just talked to her on the phone. She would never do that.
Yes.
But I finished watching that. I loved it. I actually am really, really interested in the last episode. It's a very crazy in love story, by the way.
Ooh, okay.
That episode, since you haven't seen it yet, Keegan, I'll keep it light.
All right.
I'll let you claim it. Do a deep dive on it.
It's wow.
Yes, it is. It's very wow.
Okay, I'm excited. I haven't had a ton of time to watch new stuff lately. Like I said, it's all Jeopardy and The Voice
Good for you.
videos. That's all I'm watching. But I have started watching because I'm living on YouTube. I have started watching Hot Ones. Have you guys watched Hot Ones?
Are you talking about where they eat hot wings? And yes.
No.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with it.
It doesn't sound like it makes sense, Cassie. I get it. It doesn't sound like it. But what happens is there's 10 wings and they get famous people, like really famous people.
He's had
everybody. Everyone, every single person. But so there's 10 hot wings and they put them in order of the least spicy to the most spicy. And we're talking about like
ghost pepper.
Rip your taste buds out of your mouth.
That are like a million Scovilles. You know what I mean? Like breaks the chart.
Crazy.
Hate it.
And so each wing, he asks another question, like an interview question. I just watched. It's had to change slightly.
Wait, is the question match the level of spiciness? Like, ooh, do they have to eat it if they don't want to answer the question?
They have to eat it regardless.
Oh, nah, fuck that.
They have to eat it regardless, and they do answer the question. But it's just funny because they become. You don't want to answer somebody's fucking questions when you're in like massive pain. And it's had to change. Like the formats had to change because obviously because of COVID, they can't get together. So now they're like doing it in their home. When I tell you that last night I watched the one with Dan Levy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh.
And I could not stop laughing because in the beginning, he was so well composed. Right? And he's answering these questions. It's fine. By the end, I thought that he was like actually pissed off because he was like dying. He was fully dying. By like wing number 6, he was dying. And me and Anthony were like, he's got 4 more wings to go.
Nope,
I don't know if he's going to make it. And meanwhile, this guy is asking him questions about like every weird detail about
Schitt's Creek and his career and stuff.
It's
personal relationships is the last 4 questions.
It's fucking hilarious to watch somebody go from being like, yeah, I'm really excited to do this. I love watching Hot Ones. It's so much fun, to being like, I feel like I'm going to fucking die. Like, I think I'm going to die.
Listen, do you feel like they missed the mark when not calling it hot takes?
Hot takes. Oh, that would have been good. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I do recommend go find someone you like and see if they have an episode of Hot Ones.
The Paul Rudd.
That shit's
the
funny.
Paul Rudd one is really
good.
I
love Paul Rudd.
I'm going to watch that one. Oh, amazing.
Is there a Tom Cruise one?
I don't know.
Listen, I love how funny it's become in our Facebook group that I love Tom Cruise.
I know, because you're like alone on an island, my friend.
I'm on a happy little island with me and Tom. Bye, bitches.
Well, I am really excited. First of all, I started watching Perry Mason. I just watched the first episode, and I'm like...
I watched the first episode.
I'm like, okay.
You didn't get to the Keegan's episode?
No.
Our very own friend of the podcast, Keegan Winfield.
Friend of the pod. Yeah, man.
Actual pod.
Look, if you guys want to just play Where is Keegan, you can watch Perry Mason and watch
episode 4
and watch Penny Dreadful.
Episode 1.
During my
I got him. Don't worry.
During
I found her.
my like in between jobs, like, you know, office jobs phase, and when I was working a lot of background, I did those shows, and they actually got like views of my face in both of them.
Dude, you were solid in both of them. Like, you're like, oh, there's Keegan, like solid as shit. I think you were on camera longer in the Perry Mason episode.
Yes,
and closer up.
Yeah, because they did a featured thing that I did for Penny Dreadful, but they cut the scene. They cut the scene. So
I'm done with that show then.
Yeah,
forget it. I'm out.
But
anyway, I'm sorry. You're watching Perry Mason.
Sorry.
The first episode was really good.
Yeah, I'm into it so far. I'm going to keep watching it, I think. But the biggest impact on me this week that I saw was the remake of Princess Bride by like hundreds of celebrities.
Oh my God, yes!
I shared it on my Facebook page, the trailer for it. I bawled. I straight up sobbed. I saw it Thursday, and I swear...
They're doing it in their homes.
It is the cutest, most heartwarming...
Is it the original actor?
No, it's like everybody. Everybody at their homes doing home video shoots recreating Princess Bride.
So Shaq is in it at one point as Andre the Giant.
Yes.
There's Sarah Cooper, who is that comedian who does all those like Trump things.
Yeah.
She does an Inigo Montoya at one point. It's
so good.
I've only seen bits and pieces, but
also, can we do this with our friend?
And then
yes,
can we recreate a movie?
Yes, and then it ends with freaking Rob Reiner. The trailer ends with Rob Reiner in bed as Fred Savage saying, "Grandpa, will you come back and read it to me?" And it's Carl Reiner, who just died, right? He's like, "As you wish." And I was like, like a fucking nightmare of tears. It was the most heartwarming. It's probably the happiest I've been in my whole fucking life, because that is my favorite movie of all time. I fucking love Princess Bride.
It's such a good movie.
I know it by heart.
I think I almost broke my jaw smiling.
It's beautiful.
So
I love
beautiful. Go and check it out. I shared it on my personal Facebook page, but maybe I'll share it on the My Worst Date one too, because it brought me so much happiness.
I almost cried just you saying that, let alone watching it. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the literal best. So yeah, I guess that you could see like that the trailer is what I shared, but I guess you can see full scenes on YouTube. Like Neil Patrick Harris and his husband recreate a Wesley and Buttercup scene. It's like so fucking good. So
I love it.
Yeah,
do this.
I'm going down the rabbit hole for that.
Can we do Pulp Fiction?
Sure.
Definitely. That would be so much fun. But yeah, it looked like, that's the thing, is that it looked like everybody was having fun. It was joyful. There's just something so magical about that project. It's just beautiful. So
I do love the way that quarantine has brought out people's creativity in a way that we haven't seen in a really long time. And I think that that's it's important to find the silver lining and the blessings of this time. And that's, I think, one of them for sure.
They did the As You Wish down the hill. And it was rolling downstairs. It was like dummies that they pushed downstairs.
I can't wait. Also, literally have zoned out for the past like 3 seconds being like, what if we actually did do?
We could.
Oh my
we
God.
Could do it for sure.
Is it weird that I really, really want to do
No.
it?
It's not weird.
That would be fun. We would totally do it. I have to think about what scene I'd want to do.
I thought she was...
Wait, there you are.
Oh, wait. Did I cut out?
Yeah, you were frozen. We were like...
I was like, she has no reaction.
It's like, gosh, she's not responding at all.
Weird. She's like, I hate this idea. Let's never talk about it again.
Oh, quarantine. Well, hey, reminder, write in stories, because if you were a part of the 5-word story thing on our Facebook post, we want those stories, and we're also just giving away a free My Worst State tote bag to the best entry this month. So send those submissions to our one-stop shop of a website, myworststatepodcast.com. And
I did get one already, but it is going to be in our shorty episode, so that will still count. So even if it's a shorter story that we're going to throw in our shorties, that will still count.
Yeah.
Yes. So we love you guys so much. Stay safe.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.